pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm just... Okay. Hi. I'm pretty sure that it was not picking up any of our audio.
Oh God, we've just been sitting here talking
Yeah, I don't know
and
why
doing
it did that because it just reset all of my like all the audio settings. I think my computer updated recently and it
oh
just reset all the audio settings to default, which is um
bad.
not not good because none of my settings are default. Um
Let's do the intro
do
again.
the intro again. Hi, welcome to Queers Guild and welcome to indieRevue. Doing this for the first time. Um, don't worry, the past however many minutes will be cut from the video on demand. So if you're watching this on video on demand, hi for the first time. Anyway, we're playing tonight Together Among the Stars, a very wonderful game of exploring the universe by Takuma Okada. And uh, what I'm trying to think of other things that we said.
There's a solo version of this game.
Precisely.
There is also a Twine version that you can play in your browser, created by Adam Roy,
Mm-hmm.
whose works we have featured on this channel before.
Which have the Queers Guild seal of approval, which is worth more than gold,
Yeah,
um, and is actually the be all end all of recognition amongst the TTRPG space,
right.
which I am saying now as making it a fact of reality. My reality, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Because my opinion matters more than everyone else's. So,
So Avery
mhm.
is playing the role of egomaniacal god empress tonight, I
I mean,
guess.
I do that every day, so
Uh, and I will be playing a shadow monster.
Ghost of Christmas.
Yeah,
Which one do you want to be?
Ghost of Christmas Future.
Oh, so the spooky one.
Yeah, I like the spooky
We
one
like
that
the
just
spooky ones.
points at a grave and is like, "That's gonna be you
That's
someday."
you. No, he doesn't talk.
Yeah,
He just stares.
exactly.
Yeah. He was always my favorite. Actually, no, the Ghost of Christmas Present. This is apropos of nothing. Ghost of Christmas Present, probably my favorite, just because he's just a fun, happy dude.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I know too much about Charles Dickens's Christmas Carol
Yeah, my webcam is still broken. Uh,
from the
from the Unmasked finale
alley,
over
yeah.
on Racist's channel 2 weeks ago. Um, I will be getting a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Uh, so yeah, I mean I did my best to try and make it.
Avery tried,
I tried so hard.
but
You were just like, "Oh, it's just the light." And I went, "Look at it. Look." I
yeah,
literally moved the
yeah.
camera and showed it like one for one, like both of them looking at me and the contrast was so bad. Yeah.
Uh, anyway, um,
We're playing a game. Tell me how we play the game,
so
Vigo.
in this game, first we need to. So this is a map making space adventure game.
Mm-hmm.
We are two travelers hopping from planet to planet. So
Sure.
first we need to roll a d6 and deal out face down that amount of, like, a corresponding number of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And that will be how many uh, discoveries we can make on this first planet that we're going to land on.
Fun, because I always keep that thing on me. I have
Yeah.
a teensy tiny little boy. I'll roll. 3.
Three.
Draw 3 cards.
We're using
The 40.
playingcard.io, which I love.
Mm-hmm. Comes in clutch so often.
I love because it comes with, like, you can choose from a list of different games and it's all perfectly set up for those games, and then
Mm-hmm.
I just
Then
choose
I
one at
go,
random
no.
and I delete
You can just
everything.
start a blank game.
I couldn't find that option and I was tired, so
Okay.
I just went with it. Um so we have these. So now we're going to take turns making, one player is going to discover the feature and the other is going to examine it, and we're going to trade those roles in order to uh, discover something, you roll a d6. Um, on a 1 or 2, it is arduous to get to. On a 3 to 4, you come upon it suddenly. And on a 5 or 6, you spot it while you're resting.
Perfect. All right.
And then you flip over a card, and the suit and number is gonna um, tell you what kind of discovery you're making.
Cool. All right. Would you like to discover or would you like to examine first?
I think I will discover first.
Okay. Weave me a fiction.
All right, I got a 5. So I think we were hanging out like on
Okay.
a hill,
Okay.
having a rest, having a little snack break, sitting, and just I was looking around and I was like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
So I'm gonna flip over a card that's gonna tell us what's that.
What's that?
So this is the 4 of diamonds. So diamonds are living creatures.
Fun in a steep canyon. Interesting.
So maybe we're on a hill that's like over or on like the edge of a gorge looking down into the
Mm-hmm.
gorge, and we see just a little dude
Just a
picking its way
little.
along at the bottom of the gorge.
Well, I get to examine it.
Yeah, now Avery's gonna examine it.
Right.
Normally we would be like writing things down. I even have my little notebook just in case we want to take notes, but this will all be recorded, so it's whatever. We'll have this for as long as the data integrity lasts.
Yep. All right. So, okay. In your ship's log, record a short description and your reaction in a few sentences. Oh, okay. So you actually do describe it. You
Okay.
record a short description and how you react to it, and then I examine it.
While resting on the edge of a canyon, spotted a strange but delightful critter picking its way through the canyon. I like him. I don't know what he looks like yet, but I like him.
You write a description.
I have to actually.
You say a description. Didn't just record you discovering it.
Okay. I think long spindly legs, and little feet, and sort of a mismatched body size.
Okay.
Like, I'm thinking of a maned wolf because I like maned wolves.
Okay.
But maybe with like very long, almost antenna-like ears.
Okay. What is your reaction upon seeing it?
Sheer delight.
Mm.
I'm very happy to see it.
This thing that might be a predator.
Walking. It might be, but boy, am I happy to see it. It's basically the same reaction I had when I was in Georgia with my brother and we were on a bike ride and I spotted a gator. Well clear across the pond from us. It was not going to be able to like get to us that fast. And I was just like, "Oh, gator!" And my brother was like, "I want to be 100 miles away from that thing."
Smart. I think he was the correct one in that.
Probably.
Yeah.
We also saw lots of little baby gators, and those were much more harmless.
But the mother probably wasn't.
We never saw it. I don't. Do do alligators raise their young?
Yeah, I'm pretty
They
sure.
don't just throw them into, like, hatch them and then go, all right.
I cannot say that I am an expert on the gators.
Anyway, I guess I'm
So
not going back to Georgia
no, I mean
because I have no
for
self
multiple,
preservation.
yeah, for multiple reasons, I think.
Anyway, I'm happy to see this weird maned wolf type creature.
Cool, 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 cool. All
Let
right.
me rewrite.
While you do that, I will examine it. All right. So I roll another d6 to examine something. It determines what I do as far as examining it, and I rolled a 2, so I'm going to draw the feature. Okay.
Where are you planning to do that?
Um, if this
We
were
can't
a
leave.
yeah, if this were like if we weren't doing this like for time's sake and for stream and such, so you can show, I might actually draw it. But I think my little astronaut explorer will just take out uh like the digital like sci-fi equivalent of just like a little sketch pad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a little bzzz, and then she just goes bzzz. She's really just trying to examine it. She takes her camera and zooms in, uh tries to get those really long ears right, and then like she's
Rather
going for
than,
like photorealistic like
but
yeah,
rather than taking a photo, which we're perfectly capable of.
perfectly, which honestly she probably does to help
Mm-hmm.
zoom in and cape, and then she's just like, okay, yeah, then we continue drawing. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty funny. Okay, we have finished that one. So why don't I roll to discover,
Okay.
and you will examine what I discover. Okay, flip the card, please. Gotcha. 5 of hearts.
Ooh. Was it
Heart.
arduous to get
It
to?
was arduous to get to. All right. So we finish our resting. We steer very well clear of this wonderful little canyon creature, um, and probably the pack. I assume it moves with. Um, and we head on down to a get a little turned around with a couple of very intense storms. Um, the weather where we're going, the canyon moves up into some mountains, because we've detecting some worked stone, like some things that aren't naturally formed. We
Mm-hmm.
detected, and so we're moving up towards there. We managed to get to it, but it's not without lots of wind and very wet suits. Uh,
Lots of swearing and grumbling.
it's very very much like the scenes of the dwarves and Bilbo trying to cross the mountains
Mm-hmm.
in The Hobbit, uh, like that. So it was just hell. There were no stone. There were no giants throwing rocks and stuff. But anyway,
But there might as well have
might
been.
might as well have been, or maybe there were. So I roll. I so the card we pulled is a 5 of hearts. Hearts represent ruins, mysterious obelisks, vine-covered temples, abandoned dwellings for people bigger than you, a wrecked spaceship, etc. And 5 is in a treetop. Oh, I should have read that before I described that we were in. um,
There are trees in mountains.
that's true. I think on the other side of the mountains, coming down, it sort of flattens, starts to. It's still very very rocky, but it starts to have a bit of a very sparse forest. Very very hardy, spindly long trees that reach up into the sky, sort of hanging off of these very steep cliffs. Their roots just sort of like hanging on for dear life. Um, there are the remnants of very, very almost like seamlessly worked in uh ruins, like places, like this. They look like giant like tree houses that were the trees were almost shaped and grown into these buildings and these places of worship or third places like community centers, um, and they're all the trees are dead. All of the buildings abandoned. Many other live creatures have reclaimed, and many other plant life have sort of grown over and choked these trees in death. It seems they might have needed a, a human or a humanoid hand to keep alive, unlike some plants which can thrive in the most inhospitable
Mm-hmm.
conditions.
Like mint.
God fucking yeah, there's so much fucking mint. It's a goddamn disaster. Smells nice though. But yeah, would you like to examine it?
Yes, so I'm gonna roll my die. A 5. Record how the feature changes in some way. So as we're watching it, it changes somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think maybe one of these trees has like sort of reached such a like state of decay that as we watch it sort of goes it
What if we're
like
trying to like what if we're like walking through them, like walking in them, and we misjudge uh
how solid and
how
how
like
much wood it
sturdy
can
it
bear
is?
and like find out
Or
that
your lack of self-preservation, you just go straight into one and go, hang on, and then just,
yeah, it's like the trunk looks solid
but it's hollow.
and it's yeah, it's been hollowed out by like rot and animals, and it just goes like I go straight through the floor, and the whole thing collapses around me.
Woof. So we've destroyed a ancient relic of a possibly extinct species, just like real anthropology.
Yeah,
Uh, Beautiful.
collapsed tree temple.
Uh, Tremple, if you will.
Yeah, a tremple.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
My turn.
Yes, discover.
A 3. Come upon it suddenly.
Oh,
Okay, so this is another heart, so it's a ruin.
but it's an ace.
The ace is in a field taller than you. So we're like, there's very, very tall grass around us, and we're like, we've
Mm-hmm.
descended from the mountain.
The scene in Gladiator, what we used to go into the anyway.
We like from up the mountain, it looked like it was just a normal field, but then as we got down into it,
This
we
ain't
were
your
like,
average
oh,
field.
and we were like pushing through it, and all of a sudden emerge onto this like cleared out space with these.
Mm-hmm. Like a crop circle.
Yeah, but it's cleared because there's like paving stones set out and a small like it looks like an altar. There's some
Okay. I
like
gave you the gimme with aliens for the crop circles, but you threw it right back at me with an altar. Okay.
yeah at the center. Um,
This is like signs. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep making movie references that are for movies I actually haven't seen.
there's like a stone bowl on
Mm.
top of it, and it looks like there might have been something in it, but it's long gone now.
Mm. So you would say we're having a field day in here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just
Perhaps
wondering. Yeah.
even a field trip.
Mm. Well, we are like on a trip, so would be our field trip in
Mhm.
our field trip.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's field trips all the way down.
We have the field site.
Oh, you're stretching it. You're pushing
Are
it.
we,
You're pushing it.
are we fielding questions?
No, we're not.
Are we far afield?
Yes, pretty far afield. Um, you're really trying to force this field.
Yeah.
All right, I will roll
There's a
to
force field
examine.
around the altar. We can't get any closer.
Oh no, it's a magical force field. All right, roll d6 to examine. Ooh, a 6. Record how the feature changes in some way. All right. Um, maybe by our presence, it hasn't had my gosh, practitioners or any people at its base at this ritual site in a very very long time. It reacts to our presence.
Ooh.
Uh, the ancient runes glow upon the stones.
Ooh.
The bowl itself starts to gently lift off of the dais upon which it sits, or the pedestal. There's a dais and there's a pedestal kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's runes moving up to it. I'm just getting as descriptive as possible.
Yeah.
Ooh, hmm. It
Feeling
seems
one.
to float, beckoning, wanting, yearning, thirsting,
Okay.
hungering.
Okay. I pull out the remnants of our earlier snack. Like I still have a couple bites of granola bar left.
But like, so will you accept this sacrifice?
And I put
You're
I
just...
I remove it from the wrapper. I'm not gonna leave the wrapper
Yeah,
here
of course. No
because
one.
that would
Why
be
would you eat up the
awful.
wrapper? Yeah,
But
obviously.
I'm leaving like
Yeah.
the bits of
Mm-hmm.
it's like one of those nice like chocolate and like dried berry and
Very
oat
nice. Yeah,
granola bars.
very nice. It dissolves into ash as it touches the bowl.
Fascinating.
Fun. And then it goes, yummy. Thank you. And then it turns off.
Because like if this were real life, I would have immediately started patting my pockets for more things to put in just to see
Like,
if they also
more
turn to ash.
please.
Um, because again, I have no sense of self-preservation.
No, you don't. No.
I veer wildly between being insanely worried about the stupidest things and being like, this is whatever. This is fine. I'm
This is fine.
immortal.
Yeah.
I am.
I'm mostly securely on the this is fine. Most of the time.
Mhm.
Yeah. Unless it's a social interaction. And then if I fail, I am going to walk into the lake and never come back. But if I'm having like heart palpitations one night and I go, and then I just wake up the next morning going, okay, I'm still good. Anyway, dichotomy of man right here.
Maybe you would have less heart palpitations if you didn't drink so much coffee all the time.
Coffee's the only reason why my heart is still beating.
Um, well, we've finished with this planet.
We have, so we leave.
I'm gonna clear the pile. Um, Now there is an optional like thing that you can do.
We got a little
Uh,
short downtime scene on our
so
ship.
first, when you've flipped over all the cards you've placed down, you're done exploring the planet. Give it a number
Done.
or a name, and roll the die again to place more cards and find a new planet.
Can I give it a name?
Yeah.
It will be JC29B 129B -B. Giving it that good old NASA designations. Planetary. I don't know if NASA names them. They do. Whoever finds it names it. So unless we've like, I don't know if this is a planet that was spotted using like exoplanet technology, like through like gravitational lensing or something like that.
I
But
like the idea that we're doing something similar to what, like, like the space equivalent of what the Polynesian seafarers did, where they like they basically just sailed and used their understanding of navigation and the currents to basically just find their way to an island
just make shit up. Just
without
or was it
like
like intentional? Like they
yeah,
knew
that
where it
like
was and they were going specifically for it, or they were just like,
it was
something's
more
here.
like they were discovering the island, but they were able to discover the island by following patterns of what they knew.
Interesting.
So they knew if I follow a current that is like this, eventually I will get to an island.
Interesting.
So it's sort of like if we follow this gravitational well, there's going to be a star that has planets around it.
Okay. So actually very similar to gravitational lensing and certain methods that we use. They actually use like they look at a star and like detected the minute like dimming of a planet passing by and reducing the light coming from that star. Anyway, sorry, I just really love exoplanet discoveries because like maybe it's there, like maybe like these are all it's all speculation because we can't actually go there and confirm it, so it is all technically speculation, but like it's highly likely that this planet is here. My favorite thing about science tangent is that technically like all of our theories about space and universe could be wrong. It's just that it's very, very, very likely that it's true.
I
But
really like knowing about that in the context of also knowing that pulsars exist, which are just stars that sometimes brighten and dim and brighten and dim. And at first, scientists were like, it's because a planet is passing in front of it. And then they were like, wait
a second.
Wait, no, the star's just doing that.
The stars
Why
are
is
just
it
doing that. Yeah, pulsars are fun little guys.
I love space.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we are doing that, but like on the fly as we travel.
Very fun. Do you think it's because like that's just how our species or whatever just navigates? Or do you think there's something wrong with our ship that we can't actually like have sensors that detect far out?
I like the idea that it's just how our like society navigates. Like we have the ability to like just plug in coordinates and be like going home. And we're like sort of creating a star chart in our wake. But it's about the joy of discovery. Anyway, do you want to do a little downtime scheme?
Sure. I mean, I feel like that just was one, but
that's true.
But we can still do one, or we can do it next time.
Yeah.
What's our next one? Sure. All right. Let's. Did you roll the d6? No, I rolled. So you roll the d6 to see how many planets or things we find on this next planet.
5.
Whoa. And I'll help.
A full, lovely planet.
Almost full.
Okay, I went first last time, and I also did the last discovery. So
you did the discovery first, so I'm gonna roll now to discover. Oh, I keep rolling 3s. Okay. You come upon it suddenly. Oh, Jesus.
Jump scare.
All right, let's see what we have gotten. Wait, let me flip it. I want to flip it. I'm gonna do this one.
Ooh, 4. Our first
Clubs are plants and other immobile forms of life. Towering trees, carnivorous pitchers, giant ferns, glowing weeds, floating flowers, oozing mushrooms. And the 4 is in a steep canyon once again. Let me see. Let me think. This would have actually been a good scene to do the tree things. The cliffside trees. Anyway, okay. We come into this canyon. It's very, very steep, but there is a widening opening, the sort of delta at sort of where it meets the largest body of water that this canyon river goes through. So we sort of park. I was gonna have like an actual proper like sci-fi term for it, but park our spaceship.
Land.
Dock. Coming in for a descent, you know? No, we park.
I'm the driver of this boat.
Yeah, you like pull the horn a couple bits and you go burp, burp. Anyway, and you back up and it goes burp, burp. Anyway, and yeah, we're actually like floating just like right on the beach. But as we go upstream, we keep seeing these little floating very akin to water lilies of some kind. They drift and move in sort of groups, little groups, and anytime they bump into something, there's like a little bit of a glow and a little bit of a poof of spores, or pollen would be because they're not fungus, and see some of them, and they all sort of drift out into the water, and they just keep going, and eventually they just go up and float away. And you go, huh, that's fun. And you go, all right. So we go, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so now I'm gonna examine these. 2, draw the feature. So my character is gonna pull out their own little like sci-fi like shoop, shoop,
Mm-hmm.
and a little like handheld stylus and like draw in the air.
Mm-hmm. I'm like right next to you doing the same thing, but with a stick in the sand.
And just like
mine's better.
I take a little video of it just like for proof, like look at this thing. But then I draw like it's super like impressionist. It's sort of more about capturing the feeling of watching it happen than about capturing like the actual details of it.
Nice.
Because I have the video.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
And then I ask you, like, do you think if I grabbed how much lift do you think those things have? Like, how many of them would I have to be like attached to for it to like fly?
To fly?
Yeah.
Something you notice with it is that they it's not that they're like buoyant or like lighter than air. Sometimes they just have like a little bit of lift. They're just like their knees sort of, and they go like sort of like a spinning flying top. Go. Anyway, I love those things. Yeah. In my mind, I was envisioning originally like if we were to follow it upstream through the canyon, there would be like larger versions of these same plants, sort of like sending them off as if these aren't like the flowers themselves, but like the way it spreads its seed, and it's like pretty much just a migrating plant, a plant that like migrates like salmon or something like that.
Thank you for introducing this concept into my mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna discover something.
Discover.
Okay. This is another, we come upon it suddenly. This one. Queen of Diamonds. Ooh. So Diamonds is, again, a living being. Queen is in deep water. So I think we keep following this canyon up. The ground sort of levels out, and we come to like a waterfall that has a deep pond. That then the water like. So this is like at the start of the canyon,
right?
And there's a couple of those really big flowers around, just sort of bobbing in this pond. And it was sort of like we turned a bit of a blind corner. Like we'd been hearing the waterfall, but we were like, no, it's.
And we were hearing the waterfall, and like, I really gotta go to the bathroom now.
It's like, ooh. And we see this vista. And
you part like a giant leaf, and it goes, and there's majestic music playing.
Living in these giant flowers.
Mermaids. Sorry, I jumped the gun. Continue.
I was gonna say like sort of frog-like creatures, but now I kind of like the idea of mermaids.
Just straight up mythological, sexy, topless mermaids. And my lesbian character goes, nice! Then Avery goes, nice.
Nice.
No, I like the idea of frog people.
Frog people. Yeah. There's like they have like the sort of wet like amphibian skin.
Mm-hmm.
They're like shades of blue and green, and they have really long, strong legs, but they're like crouched.
Mm.
And they're wearing like bits of like the flowers as clothing. Like they've turned the petals in because the petals are so big that it's like a yard of cloth.
Hmm.
Um,
Definitely think they could like take the fibers at least from the plants and even weave things out of those too.
And we spot them, and they spot us. And at first, it's like, ooh, I wasn't expecting this, but we like figure out how to communicate.
Mm.
It's sort of like the Star Trek thing where like you have to get someone to talk to you long enough for the
Universal translator.
Yeah, for that to start working, and eventually we get to that point and we're able to be like, oh, and chat, and they tell us like that they use these big flowers as like ships. They've come upstream for like us this one like ritual that they do every year, but
blood sacrifice, right?
yeah, but later in the season they'll take their flowers back out to like the lake where they'll float. Where there's more space.
Some of them have figured out of taking the plant, like some of the smaller ones, and just like revving it up and then just grabbing the roots and just
yeah, we see some like kids doing that.
Yep. Taking off into
they
the
like
ether.
give it extra like oomph because they can like leap really
Oh,
high
yeah.
with their frog legs.
And the only reason why like they don't get themselves killed is because they can just sploosh in the water, or they just have very good landing abilities to like land on their feet very softly and break their fall. So if we were to do it, it would kill us. Because we're not allowed to have fun. No fun allowed. We're not here for fun. We're here for scientific research. Now I'm going to examine.
A bit here for fun.
Maybe you are. I'm a scientist.
I just went off on that whole tangent. Like I did part of the examination for you.
No, you're good. For me, I rolled a 3 for examining, which means I add a detail you noticed about the feature. Well, you've already added so much. Something about the frog people, the freeple, if you will. A lot of them, the way that we are interacting, the universal translator is still picking up things, still trying to figure things out. It's not one-to-one. But we do learn a little bit more about sort of their culture, the way they interact with each other. It's a very community-based society. They're not on a scale of anywhere near like us. But they do have a sense of community and discovery. They come up here for their rituals, but a lot of them also leave the lake and leave towards other parts of the planet. Further down on the other side of the lake, so they like describe to us the furthest they've gone and come back from has been like, to us is nothing. It's just like a couple 100 miles, but for them that is like the furthest possible, and they keep thinking that we're like from the other side of the planet or something, or like somewhere further along, and we're just going
To explain
totally.
Space travel.
You can't do that. Nope. Prime directive. We're already contaminating their culture right now. We can't really share anything, but Yep,
All right. Make a discovery.
I will. But not because you told me to. Because I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
2. It's arduous. Alright. Queen of Clubs. No, spades. Pardon.
We haven't had spades yet. This is our first spade.
Alright. Spades represents natural phenomena. Huge crystal formations, mirages, vividly colored lightning, strange clouds, rock eroded in strange shapes, veins of precious metals. And Queen is still in deep water. Okay. To continue the thread with the Freeple that we've been working with, they take us back to their city, so to speak, their main communal center where they all live, deep underwater in the lake. Thankfully, we have respirators in which we can breathe, and hang out with them down in the bottom of the sea, where everything's wetter and everything's better under the sea. Anyway. Mm-hmm. Oh gosh. Trying to imagine how things are down here. Natural phenomena. Ooh, okay. There's a few. Okay, this actually would not make sense for a lake, but I was having the thought of like geothermal vents, but I feel like there might be like this area is particularly close to a upwelling of the mantle, that's the word, of the planet. Very, very close to the crust here, so there's a lot of little bits of cracks and sometimes little peaks of lava coming up. But there are a lot of geothermal vents through which a lot of the society gets a lot of its food from, a lot of its warmth and protection, and a lot of the life from there. They seem to have a lot of like mutual symbiotic relationships with a lot of like the creatures that also get their nutrients from the vents. A lot of the crabs that just stand over the vent and go like that. Mm-hmm. They eat a lot of them, but you know, what I'm saying. But they also keep it clean, so they try to keep it balanced.
What if they've domesticated crabs?
There's a few domesticated crabs, yes. Yes.
Nice.
Yes, they are cars, crab cars.
Cars.
Crabs. What? Okay. Some
Crab
of them are
noodles.
riding on giant starfish that are just sort of like scrolling across the ground. Anyway, yeah.
All right. Now I get to examine
Yes, examine the geothermal vents.
6. Uh, something changes.
Blow them up. Kill them all.
I uh no. No. I think maybe the reason there are so many geothermal vents here is because they're being like purposefully created
By
by the free bowl.
by the free ball.
So like we that was part of what the ritual was. They go upstream, they do a little ritual for luck, and then they come back and they like break ground.
So they're fracking.
Yeah. No.
Pretty much what fracking is.
Is it?
Pretty much.
I thought fracking was using water to like flush out uh, something that you were mining.
I can't say. I don't know enough about fracking. All I know is bad. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a dangerous thing to do because
Mm-hmm.
you are dealing with high pressure, high temperature,
Yeah.
volatile materials.
That's why there's rituals associated.
Oh, the ritual
with
for luck. I assumed it was just like a religious thing. It was like a sort of a thing they did to like that they believed worked.
Like Yes, but it's also like it's such a dangerous thing that of course
They
they've
have to
built
have
like
it's
rituals around
integrated
it.
into the society. Yeah,
Hmm.
interesting. Do they have a full understanding of how this works,
Uh
or do they have a form of like an occult or like a religious like spiritual explanation?
yes,
Okay.
to both. Like from a modern scientific perspective, they would not like the way they would explain it to us. We would be like,
Mm-hmm.
that's occult nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But if you like really listen to what they're saying, it's clear that like their society has been doing it for so long that even though they like talk about it in terms that aren't necessarily scientific, it's clear they know what they're doing. They just also assign it a sort of um, like mysticality.
Mm-hmm. The mysticism and stuff like that. Their
Mm-hmm.
explanation, yeah. Um,
Just
I
like a
could.
lot of societies throughout time have done.
Mhm. I like to think that like we're watching them do it and we're just going like, oh my god, oh my god.
Thankfully, this time no one
No
like
one dies,
dies.
but like in events when it does, it's just like, oh, that means like we did something wrong. We did something like obviously yes, but like we prayed wrong or we did the ritual wrong or the gods are just angry. But like, no, you just did it. You're just doing something that you are so lucky you aren't dying every single time you try it.
There's
Yeah.
an interesting what I always think of when it uh, comes to like how much is mysticism versus how much is like actual like understanding of how the world works.
Mhm.
Um, God, I can't remember the name of the society, but in Africa, there's a culture where certain things are ascribed to witchcraft, but it's sort of like um, if a like grain, they have these like built up platforms that they store like their grain on and will sometimes like rest under for shade during the day. If one of those collapses, like yeah, that's something that happens. These things collapse. If it collapses on Uncle Jim and breaks his leg, the fact that it collapsed at the moment that Uncle Jim was under it and broke his leg rather than at any other time is witchcraft.
Hmm.
So it's about explaining the sorts of coincidences that happen and that are what we would just call like bad luck or
Hmm.
wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah. Chance
Mm-hmm.
or
Which is sort of what I'm
probability.
like going for here.
Hmm.
Like they know uh, scientifically, but there's also an element of
Superstition.
mm-hmm.
All right. Cool. All right.
Anyway. That's
You did it.
yeah, we did it.
Now you discover.
Now I discover
I know we've gotten so many to do.
that's six. Bought it as we're resting. Eight of clubs. So clubs is plants, and an
Yeah.
eight is on a glacier.
Ooh.
So I think we're at in the south,
Hmm.
sort of, and we like, or maybe we're
I've been envisioning a tropical environment,
yeah, we're
so closer to the equator.
mhm. And we sort of are like, okay, well, it's been real, but we have to keep exploring and
We've got
like,
other places to chart. I mean, we totally got to go get on our Lily and
mhm.
skedaddle out of town. Do not watch us leave. Do not look at the thing that we're leaving in. Goodbye.
And we like some of the people who have traveled like the farthest describe like, well, there's this
Up north.
huge blocks of ice.
I'm just trying to talk like a frog.
Yeah,
I wasn't doing very well.
just immense. Um, and always cold. And I don't know how anything can live there, but it's the only place where you can find like this specific herb that's sometimes used in like medicine. Or like, neat.
Neat.
So we go to check it out, and it is like fucking miserable. It's cold.
Yeah.
Um,
Have you been to a glacier or seen a glacier in
No.
person? Okay. I have, so I just want to be like, I want to inform your creation. I'm going to correct you
okay.
on your glacier. No,
So
I
it's
mean,
warm there.
no, it's a glacier. It's ice.
Yeah,
But
of course.
a lot of glaciers can be very high up in the mountains. It depends on how far north we're going. We're going like, because I've seen glaciers in Alaska, but I've also seen one in the Rockies, in Montana.
Ooh.
So at actual Glacier National Park, there's a few there. They're just sort of like hugging the mountains, crawling, like going upwards, and they're all melting. Yay.
So maybe there's like a mountain.
Yeah, if we're going with like the sort of imagery of, or sort of the analog of like, this is like, the Grand Canyon coming out to like southwest North America, like southwest west, sort of like the what's that little strip? No, not is it? No, it's not Malibu. Is it Malibu? No,
Florida?
no, west. There's like a little strip that's not America.
Chile?
No, North America still.
North America.
We're still like south of California.
Okay. The Yucatan Peninsula. Baja California.
Baja, I think.
Baja California.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
So we come out into these mountains.
The California Peninsula.
I'm sort of thinking of like
Mexicali.
Peru.
Oh.
Almost.
Okay.
In terms of what the mountains are like. And we get up there, and there's a mountain lake that's formed from the meltwater from these glaciers that are sitting at the top of the mountain, and
I'm looking at lakes in South America now. Ooh, Glacier Lagoon in Bolivia.
I think that's probably, yeah, I've seen pictures of that, and I think that's probably what I've been thinking of in my head.
Perfect. Then you got it right.
And we're like walking around, like, this is a beautiful place. I really want to see that plant they were talking about.
Where is that plant? Yeah. Be interesting, because it must be a hardy enough plant to survive in ice, but also it takes root in ice? Or does it puncture through the ice from the ground?
I think it takes root in ice, and it is fed by like the nutrients that it gets is actually from the bacteria in the water of the ice. Because you know how ancient glaciers can have like ancient bacteria frozen in them?
Yeah, like like perma bacteria.
Yeah. And we're like, is that it? No. Is it? No. Like over and over as we like approach, and eventually we're just like, let's just sit down and like, we've been walking for hours trying to find this. And as we're sitting, we're like, is that, we like brush some snow aside, like to sort of make a flat spot to sit. And we like uncover one.
It is all poking out.
Just a little green shoot. And it's like, We found
You
it.
found it. Very nice. Okay, so you discovered it, right?
Hmm.
So I will examine it. I have some ideas, but we'll see what I roll.
I'm really enjoying this narrative we're crafting.
Or just this world, all this planetary world building we're doing. All right.
Like, technically, yes, you could just like have each discovery be completely separate from the one before.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something so like fulfilling about crafting a narrative as you move through
Yeah,
these discoveries.
it's the best part of these games that I like doing. All right, I rolled a 5, which means I
Fine.
record how the feature changes in some way, which sort of lends nicely to how I can make this idea. Um, like all glaciers, occasionally, well, glaciers move,
Mhm.
which is mostly break apart and melt. And as they move, chunks get knocked down through just rarely or ever like a noticeable cause. Sometimes it's just like, oh, the ice is melted just enough that it's
Mhm.
not strong enough to hold this chunk of ice, and so it's going to fall out. Fortunately, that does happen on the chunk of ice we are chilling out on with the plant.
Oh, geez.
So we are going to have to do some evasive maneuvers, so to speak. Uh, Thankfully, we are able to survive the collapsing of this ice chunk. So it does place us a little roughly in some little like what seems to be like holes or paths or tunnels through in the glacier.
Ooh.
Sort of different ways the ice is like compacted as left little gaps that we can walk through. Which are actually true of some actual glaciers. Like I know at least the Juneau, Alaska, the glacier in Alaska, Juneau, Alaska, that you can go to near there, has things where you can actually take a helicopter to land on the glacier and then
I'm
go
just thinking
in
about
there.
that scene from the Ice Age movie.
Why are you thinking about Ice Age movie?
They're in
The
like
first one?
they're walking through like this tunnel in the ice and they see all of these things like frozen in the ice, including a like parody of the like the rise of man picture.
That's just pure. That's just fine cinema right there. Hmm. Anyway, honestly, it's art. To be honest. Um, yeah, we go in, and as we're walking through to get out because we're definitely a little bit trapped. We're passing through the root system of these herbs. It seems
Ooh.
sort of like mint, and a lot of those it's just like a huge network of roots that just pop out with the stems, and that's how they sort of manage to like share the very sparse nutrients with each other. So yeah, so we get to crawl through roots and ice, and yeah, fun,
Nice.
fun.
Love it.
Okay, one more.
One
Discover.
more.
Shots. Okay. 10 of clubs.
Another plant.
Ba-ba-ba-bum. All right. Ooh, okay. Discover. All right. So I rolled a 6 for discover, so that means we spot it as we are resting. And it is a clubs, which plants, once again. And on a 10, it is a cliff face location. Okay. Um. Uh, so we make it out of the glacier. We managed to, if not find a natural opening, we managed to pick our way out. Um,
Without causing the ice to collapse on
without
top of us
structural
again
damage. Yeah, of course.
and kill us.
um, so we come out on what is the other side, so to speak, of the glacier. The glacier is nestled in between a couple of mountain ranges, sort of there, and we come out sort of right on the edge, the precipice of uh, flat fields of a ancient piece of humongous piece of like megalith, and just sheer drop. Um, on the sides of these cliffs, that we can see also like all around us as well, just different jagged pieces of stone that must have been moved through ancient seismic activities, tectonic plates moving. Spotting a few of these. Trying to think like what kind of plant we haven't like really discussed.
Fungus.
We haven't done fungus. I'm just also trying to think of like, I mean, just it's a lot of moss. It's just lots of lichen, lots of just like very like hanging on for dear life. Those little guys who are the start of the process of making dirt, uh, and turning rock into dirt. Love those little dudes. Just a ton of moss, and it's all sort of like sticking on the side, and it makes sort of these like mosaics of different colors.
Ooh.
Mostly greens and blues and grays, grayish blues across. Yeah, that's that. I don't have any more to say about them. Nothing more cool about them because what's cooler than moss? Nothing.
Nothing. Oh, I get to record how the feature changes in some way.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Maybe
that,
the moss takes a liking to you.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, like, maybe the reason it's all these different colors is like so as we approach it and sort of like touch it, sort of moving out from our like contact point, it starts to change colors.
Ooh, it's like oh, what's the fern that like like folds up?
I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about, yes.
everyone knows what I'm talking about. It's those ferns that fold up when you touch them. I
Mm-hmm.
know they're like it's like shy something.
Yeah, but it in this case it's like color, and we can see like some like a bird lands or the equivalent of a bird on this planet like land perches at one spot and like the same thing happens coming out from there. Maybe it's like a, a heat sort of like a heat
Reaction to
map
heat. Yeah.
thing.
Oh yeah,
So
that'd be
it's
fun.
like a sort of like dark or
It's like a
it's like a
chemical,
bright red near us, and as it
yeah, like
like moves out from that spot it
biological reaction to like
Mhm.
heat.
So the spots that are getting the most sun are also more warm toned, and the spots that are in the shade are like the darkest greens and
Mm-hmm.
blues.
Like as a way of conserving energy, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, interesting. Called sensitive plants, by the way. The ones
I
that
love that.
fold up. They're called. Their scientific name is Mimosa pudica. Also called the humble plant, a plant in the pea family that responds to touch and other stimulation by rapidly closing its leaves and drooping.
Aw.
Wonderful little guys. Nature is beautiful. All right.
By the way, never tease a Venus flytrap.
No, they use a lot of energy
Yeah,
to
it
open
uses
and
up a lot
close
of energy to go like.
because, like, the amount of energy in just one fly, that's a lot of food
Mm-hmm.
for that little guy.
So you shouldn't tease them because
So
you
you
could kill
should,
them.
yeah, if you do like touch it, you should let it eat your finger
Mm-hmm.
because that's what you deserve.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Mm-hmm. Did you know there's a complete tangent? There's a pitcher plant that acts in reverse.
Hmm.
But not like it. Just like it captures things underground.
Ooh.
It like grows out underground and traps things underground. Anyway, pitcher plants are cool.
There's a pitcher plant that has a symbiotic relationship with the Honduran white bat.
I haven't heard about that. Interesting.
Mhm.
What does it do?
The bats shelter inside of the pitcher plant during the day, and their poop feeds the plant.
I'm having emotions about this. I'm sorry.
I think it's the hunter and white bat. It is a bat. Some sort of bat has a symbiotic relationship with a pitcher plant.
Oh my god, please, everyone at home, you need to look at these little guys.
Was I right about what type of...
I don't know.
I'm just very fond of hunter and white bats. Um, they're very special little guys.
Pitcher plant bat poop is the search I just made on Google. I don't think it's the Honduran white ones, but
No. I think I was thinking of that because I've seen so many pictures of them crowded underneath leaves because
they
they
do.
make little tents underneath big leaves.
Roost for bats of the species Caravula hardwicii. Wiki I don't know what the two eyes is. I don't know if they have a common name.
Woolly bats.
Woolly bats. Oh.
They're just little guys. Bats are very good critters.
Yeah, they are.
Unfortunately,
evolutionary freaks. But
yeah, my brother last week woke up to a bat somehow getting into his apartment.
In his city apartment.
In his city apartment, in his home, he woke up to it in his bedroom. And now he has to get rabies shots.
He has to get rabies shots on top of all the other shit he has to deal with.
All of the other stuff.
Which we won't have to talk about. Yeah.
But yeah, I love bats. Do not interact with wild bats unless you are a trained professional because they can carry rabies. Among other things.
Among other things. They're also just very weird. Very cool, but very, very
I love
weird.
them. They're so special. They're so weird. They might bite you. They might give you rabies.
They are wild animals, so.
This has been a PSA.
Yeah.
Anyway, also look up the woolly bat and also the hunter and white bat. Both of them are very good.
Unless you're like not comfortable with bats.
Yeah.
Some
if you
people
do
aren't
not like
into
bats.
that. I'm so sorry for your loss. Yeah.
The thing is, bats have so many different looks. Every species of hognose bat looks like a little freak. Like, in the most delightful way possible. And then there are the bats that look like someone took a dog and shrank them.
Yeah, or like weird horses. Anyway. Yeah, anyway, this has been Bat Talk.
This has been a tangent about bats.
Welcome. This is a new stream within a stream. Bat Talk. Where we just give you the latest news on bats. Anyway. Okay, we finished with this planet. Bye. Would you like to name it this time?
I would. Should I keep with the theme?
That's your decision to make. And my decision to how I react to your decision. And whether I think it's the right one.
Alright, I'm just noting down the lichen changes color in response to heat. Just for fun. I'm gonna.
Do you think a lot of the colors and changing and stuff like that can make a nice Bob Moss painting?
Yes. There is a woman on YouTube, my favorite YouTube content creator, who followed a Bob Ross tutorial, but using colored chocolate.
That's fun. Anyway, I just wanted to make a Bob Ross pun with moss.
Well, thanks to that, I'm naming this planet
Bob Moss.
Yeah, BR. BR dash MOS.
Okay, that's good.
BR Moss.
Gotta have a number or two in
dash 5.
Very nice.
That's our planet.
Very nice. All right, we can do a little downtime thing. How about we do the little downtime scene and then we wrap it up for tonight? Then, because we got some pretty good
We have gone for about
an hour, a little over an hour,
Mhm.
and we've got some very very good content so far, and a lot of
Yes,
tangents we go on. And I know that the more we talk, the more tangents we'll go on. So,
this is true.
all right, what is our
Story-based games don't allow a lot of time for tangents, but
no
these sorts of games
are like
that are
built
like
for them?
world building just open up the can of worms that is both of us
Are
having a lot of random
both of
knowledge.
our neurodivergent brains sort
Mhm.
of going off?
So you can do like whatever you want for the downtime scene, but they also offer the option of again rolling a d6, and depending on what number you get, you can do one of three prompts. So we are going to try one of those.
Sure.
So this is while you're traveling between planets, have a short downtime scene. This part isn't like necessary if you just want to focus on the like planet stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want that sort of like narrative through line, you can do this.
Yeah. I rolled a 6, so we share a meal together.
Ship
Ship
rations.
rations. What's the worst part? What's the best part?
Um,
Bunch of astronaut food,
yeah,
all
I think
freeze dried.
we've definitely reached the point where it's like, God, I would love some fresh food, and I would love to not eat like
This rehydrated
yeah, or like
flop.
one of three meals.
Mm-hmm. Prepackaged, predetermined meals that we have
Mm-hmm.
because everything on the ship needs to be weighed and like rationed exactly. Because that's how space travel works.
And it's all like you have lasagna, uh,
I don't want to think about rehydrated lasagna.
meatloaf dinner,
Oh god,
and like
it's a little brick and it just
yeah,
expands.
stir fried dinner. And
Mm.
those are like the three that you
Hmm.
get.
I feel like there's like also like freeze dried like fruit pieces and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, and like the rehydrated ones are very slimy and like, bleh. But like, and so like sometimes we're just like, sometimes my character will just eat them dry, just crunch them just to have something different for
Mm-hmm.
once, and it's like actually it's not that bad.
What's it? Is there anything good about it?
I mean, consistent. It's just, I mean,
Consistent filling
mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, gives you that energy. Very high in protein, very high in everything because it has to.
every so often. There's
Because yeah,
like rehydrated uh birthday
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 cakes.
cake
Yeah,
or
and that's
something.
actually like that. It looks like they actually put some like effort into it, and so it actually like you put it in the rehydrator and it comes out with lit candles. Like
There's
ah.
like a little packet of
Hmm.
uh like frosting.
Oh my god.
Like you do have to add water to it and mix
Mm-hmm.
it, but it's like good frosting.
Yeah. Damn,
I
I've straight up just eaten frosting straight out of the
Me
thing.
too.
I mean, yeah.
I will say I am a weird person who sometimes really just craves incredibly bland food. I
I
like
know
plain
this.
Cheerios. I like
Just
unsalted saltines.
mm-hmm.
I like
Just
matzah,
sometimes.
just plain as pasta. I like shit that is just dry and tasteless and it's like eating cardboard. And I don't know why this is, but like probably occasionally like there will be rations that like a breakfast ration or something that is literally like it's supposed to be toast, but it is literally but it is literally it's essentially matzah.
Mm.
And I am just always like,
It
fuck yes.
looks like it would come apart with a stiff breeze. Yeah.
And every time I'm just like, yes,
Fuck yes. And I'm like,
my
oh
favorite.
no.
It's better than cereal with weird evaporated milk that we have to add water to.
That's fair. It's very fair.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like the crackers. I want the crunchy stuff, and then sometimes like with like granola bars and stuff like that, I can't stand if they're like hard and crunchy and like
Right.
crumbly. I have to have the soft baked shit.
Me too.
So anyway,
I used to
like the Kind bars. Some of the Kind bars are really really good, and some of them are. The oatmeal
Yeah.
bars for Kind, perfect. They're for kids, but I'm a child at heart, so
I grew up eating those like Nature Valley oat
Mhm.
bars that are like
yeah,
hard
the
as a
crunchy
brick,
munchy, yeah.
and you cannot like eat them in a place where you plan on like remaining for very long.
Because the crumbs will have taken over
Yeah,
society.
and
by that
they're
point.
weapons of war.
They are
Literally,
weapons
they're
of
health
mass
props.
destruction. Yeah.
You can't eat a Nature Valley bar
Without there
barefoot.
being collateral damage, yeah.
If you're barefoot and you eat a Nature Valley bar, say goodbye to your
So
ability to
your
walk.
toes, yeah.
But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I used to eat those like a ton, and I think that's what turned like in like high school and stuff like that. I used to eat those a lot. I think that's what turned me off. Eventually on it, I was just like, oh, I hate the crunch. Anyway,
no more crunch.
no more crunch. Even like, that's actually crunchy is probably my least favorite texture of food.
I hate when there's an
Unexpected crunch is the worst.
But
I used to, yeah.
squishy or slimy is my least favorite texture.
It depends. It really depends. But I get it. I used to eat burgers with like potato chips on them,
Ooh.
which was really cool. I really liked. But then sometimes I'm just like, the squishy with the crunchy. It's just nah.
There are some squishy foods that are nice, and then there are some squishy foods where it's like, I hate this, cannot stand this.
Perfect. What were we talking about? Oh, rations. That's right.
Rations.
Spaceship rations for this game that we're playing. All right.
Do you think our characters like tried desperately to like trade each other?
Please, just like give me like, listen, I know you're in the crunchy mood today. Here, I'll give you all my crunchies, and I take all your squishies. And,
One of us opens up the ration that has the like special birthday cake dessert in it, and it's like we have to have already like promised to split them in half whenever that happens, otherwise there'd be blood.
What? Are you implying that it's like a random
Yeah.
chance?
Like when I say birthday cake, I mean like funfetti cake.
Funfetti. Oh, I thought you
Like-
meant like on the birthdays we get to have a special birthday cake, but
I
no,
think
it's
there would also be that, but there's like the little funfetti cupcakes too.
I'm
that you, like, open.
baffled by the implications that we don't get to choose what food we eat every day.
I mean, you do. I just think that some of them are probably for like mental enrichment. There's like randomized
So, like-
dessert.
Like I understand the aspect of like every minute of our day on the spaceship has to be planned and scheduled out because that's how like real life astronauts have to do because it's fucking hell living in space. Space does not want you there.
And you lose bone density.
And you lose bone density, which is why everything we eat, like we have to be exercising all the goddamn time. Ugh. Anyway, the only reason why I didn't become an astronaut. Anyway.
I don't want to become an
definitely no
astronaut
other
because
reason.
we don't have enough infrastructure in space yet, and I would be terrified of somehow losing contact with Earth and drifting endlessly into a black void and then starving to death. Or
Starving to death is
dying of dehydration, or freezing, or burning to death in the unshielded light of the sun.
And or the UV or the radiation, the cosmic radiation, or the solar radiation. I mean, definitely. What about the implosion from sudden depressurization?
I mean, yeah, that too. But I already like fear that whenever I like have to be on a plane. So it's not like unique to space travel for me.
It's a little bit more unique because at least
it's more like the fear of drifting endlessly is like having time to think about it.
Okay.
Versus death
Welcome
from
to fear
sudden
talk.
depressurization is like, yeah, I would be worried about that happening, but I don't like sit down and like dread having to experience it because if it happened to me, I would just be dead. Right on. Within seconds.
Okay.
So it's like, wow, that would That sure sounds like something I should fear happening, but I wouldn't find it scary in the moment.
This has been Fear Talk.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I watched the movie Gravity once
I
and
was
it
about to say,
fucked
have
me
you
up.
seen Gravity? Because like that movie fucks you up.
When he
Also not
fucking
very
cuts his tether and just floats away, like, bye
Bye.
forever.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Love those movies. Anyway,
Anyway.
this has been, I mean, not for the past like 10 minutes or so, but this has been Together Among the Stars by Takuma Okada. Thank you, Takuma, for making this very fun game that has caused us to go on many tangents, and spurs our world building brains and anxiety brains for some reason. Yeah.
I love games like this. I think this is a great tool for quick world building if you're going to
Like on the fly.
Yeah.
If you're doing like a sci-fi campaign of some kind. I was actually a lot of this thinking like would be a lot of fun to do like in between missions for like a Star Trek Adventures game
Oh
of just being
yeah.
like here's a planet that we get to like survey and explore and then like moving on like what happens in the meantime and like before like the next big like plot episode so to speak.
Yeah, like those.
Take your
Sorry,
time.
I inhaled weird.
Take a sip. Take a
Um,
moment.
and my body is built wrong, so inhaling weird kills
It's just
me.
built different, but in a worse way.
Yeah, worse.
But worse.
I slipped through quality control.
You snuck past.
Yeah, they tested the one right before me, and that one was like perfect. So they
Like
were like,
beautiful.
"This
Like
gas is fine."
we're good.
No, um, the Star Trek one episodes where it's just like, "Hey, look at this fucked up planet with its fucked up people."
Yeah, and this fucked up planet that's gonna try and kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
The salt monster.
love the salt. My favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Love the salt monster.
Um,
OG Star Trek,
yeah.
man,
So this is a great tool.
and a
It's
great game
open
in and of
ended.
itself.
Yeah.
Too.
It's open ended, but not too open ended that you're just kind of sitting there going.
I do like games where it's just like you can end whenever you want. You're good.
Yeah.
Don't worry about like there's some games where it's just like you need to meet this end condition. Like you need to keep playing until this certain thing happens. And I'm like, oh god.
Yeah,
like,
this one sort of there is a like it says when you're tired and you want to go back home.
When you're tired. Yeah, in the game.
There's also if at any point one of you feels unsafe on the planet, return to your ship.
Just
hold hands if you need to.
Just leave.
I think that's very sweet.
Just hit the bricks. You can leave at any time.
So there is the Alone Among the Stars version of this game that is solo play. One of the games that I've had on my list to try and play is called Alone on the Map, and it is a terrestrial map making hack of this game.
Oh, fun.
So it's more geared towards the map making aspect rather than.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. I think if I'm recalling correctly, there are several different games that are based on this that all have their own sort of feel to them.
Which is always great. I love when games can be morphed into other things.
I'm always a big fan of world building games. Every single one has like its own twist to the theme. This one is quite open-ended, and it's just kind of like you find a plant on a cliff and it's hard to get to, and then you sort of have to make up something about that, and then the like examine prompts sort of like keep pushing you forward, like something changes. Why? Which I like.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. Like
it's
good,
and
I
liked it. Yeah.
It's a well thought out game. It's easy to play, and it has these like built in tools to keep pushing the game forward.
Yeah.
And to
Yeah.
get you thinking.
Jesus, Oliver. Thank you for waiting until the very end of the stream to make the fucking stupidest shit. Do the most stupidest fucking shit ever. Anyway.
He launched himself off my desk, but he was sitting on top of my journal, so when he launched himself, he also launched my journal.
He is playing it so cool, right? I don't know if you probably can't see him because
No, my camera is
because
shit.
you're both in sepia tone and you're also like a person in witness protection who doesn't want your identity for your safety.
But he is very much pretending.
He is being like, that was totally on purpose. Like, look at me, I'm licking my foot. Like, I am just a chill cat. Definitely give me more food. Anyway, this has been indieRevue for, I mean, whatever that was. Definitely come back next week for the next surefire review, best review, 5-star review of like top quality review of whatever game we're playing.
We have it.
We do have it planned out. Yes.
Actually, like pull it up. But yeah, we have. So I highly recommend picking up this game. We have the link, and the creator information. It is pay what you want.
It will be right down there in the corner. You can check out the socials, the itch page, where you will find the game. Also, if you go to our Twitter, we have linked the game as well.
Next week we are playing Locomotive.
That's right. Next week is...
which is essentially Infinity Train.
Yes, but, we're going to make it so much fun. Which I'm excited for. That was my pick for this week because I wanted to do something like that. Like a very heavy game because it's my birthday weekend.
Yeah.
And I get to make the choices.
So if you're here with us next weekend, remember to wish Avery a happy birthday. Or she will be sad.
I will start crying on camera.
And it'll be very awkward for all of us.
Because I can do it on command.
But yeah. And if you want to again, there's the Twine version, there's the solo version.
Also a Twitter version.
I'm sure
Twitter bot version.
You could probably hack this to play it with larger groups.
Yeah,
though I think it's lovely as a duet game.
Some games are just meant for yourself or a buddy.
And it doesn't require a whole lot, just 1d6, a set of playing cards, and you can, like we did,
and the document.
digitally.
Yeah.
And something to write on if you want, and the rules. So you could play this for long car trips or plane rides.
You're really good. And you could even use the things you're driving past as inspiration. Anyway.
Gosh, this would be a great road trip game.
It would be. All right. Thank you once again to everyone who is sticking with us, to have watched this far. You are a trooper. Thank you, Takuma Okada, for making this wonderful game. And thank you to Oliver for not bothering us for most of the stream. We hope you have a wonderful Saturday evening. Please stay happy, stay healthy, and as always,
stay queer, folks.
Bye.
Wait, we didn't do our remember to check out our friend Bracius's channel.
Oh, yeah.
I think they're playing a video game as we gear up towards the next Slay a While campaign. And on Wednesday we'll be back with the video game, and we've already said Saturday we're playing Locomotive.
Yes.
So